Commander Eliza Chen stood motionless on the observation deck of the ISS Pathfinder, her eyes fixed on the blue-green sphere of Earth hanging in the void. The experimental vessel, humanity's first true interstellar ship, had been hidden behind the moon during its final test run when everything changed. "Commander, you need to see this," Lieutenant Rodriguez called from his monitoring station, voice cracking with barely contained panic. Chen crossed the deck in 3 long strides. The main screen showed live feeds from major cities around the world: New York, Tokyo, London, Mumbai. One by one, the stars above each metropolis were winking out, as if someone were drawing a veil across the night sky. "What am I looking at, Lieutenant?" Chen asked, though a cold dread was already pooling in her stomach. "Some kind of atmospheric anomaly. Started 90 seconds ago and spreading globally at an unprecedented rate." As they watched, the city lights in each feed began to flicker. Then communication channels erupted with panicked chatter before abruptly cutting to silence. Power grids failed in cascading blackouts that swept across continents like dark waves. "Get me Houston," Chen ordered. Communications specialist Zora Okafor's fingers flew across her console. No response from Mission Control. No response from any Earth-based station. Her dark eyes widened. "Commander, I'm not even getting basic satellite pings." "It's as if everything just died," Chen finished, her voice hollow. Dr. Amit Patel, the ship's xenobiologist, rushed onto the bridge, tablet in hand. "The long-range scanners are picking up something forming around Earth's atmosphere. Some kind of energy field with a structure unlike anything in our databases." The main view screen shifted to a spectral analysis, showing a gossamer web of energy encompassing the planet, pulsing with patterns too regular to be natural. "That's not a natural phenomenon," Chief Engineer Kai Takahashi stated, joining them at the console. "The energy signature is modulated. Controlled." A strange tone suddenly pierced the ship's communication system, followed by words in perfect English that chilled everyone on the bridge. "Quarantine established. Primitive species contained. Technological regression protocols initiated. Threat assessment minimal. Recommendation: periodic monitoring only." The message repeated once before dissolving into static. "They just shut down our entire planet," Okafor whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "My family is down there." Chen's mind raced through options, each more desperate than the last. The Pathfinder carried supplies for a 3-month mission. They could return to Earth, but to what? A powerless world plunged into chaos. "Kai, what's our engine status?" Chen asked, decision crystallizing. Takahashi looked up from his diagnostics. "The Alcubierre drive is at 97%. We're ready for our scheduled first jump." "And if we return to Earth now?" Patel answered grimly. "The energy field would likely disable our systems before we could land. We'd be as helpless as everyone else down there." Chen turned to the viewport, watching her homeworld being systematically dismantled by an unseen enemy. Her fists clenched at her sides. "Plot a course to Proxima Centauri," she said, her voice steel. Rodriguez looked up sharply. "Commander, whoever did this didn't account for us. We were shielded by the moon during their attack. That makes us humanity's only free ship, perhaps its only hope." Chen turned to face her crew, determination hardening her features. "We won't help Earth by becoming prisoners too. We need answers. We need allies." And then, her eyes flashed. "We need vengeance." The Pathfinder emerged from its first interstellar jump with a series of shuddering coughs as power fluctuated throughout the vessel. Warning lights bathed the bridge in crimson as Takahashi frantically worked to stabilize the failing systems. "Status report," Commander Chen demanded, strapping herself back into her chair after the violent exit from faster-than-light travel. "The drive sustained damage during the jump," Takahashi replied, not looking up from his diagnostics. "We're operating at 30% power and dropping. Life support is stable, but we won't make another jump without repairs." Dr. Patel gazed at the view screen displaying a reddish star. Proxima Centauri, and its orbiting planets. At least we made it to our destination. Scan for any signs of technology or artificial structures, Chen ordered. Their mission parameters had included searching for potential alien intelligence, but now that search had become their lifeline. Lieutenant Rodriguez adjusted the sensor array. Commander, I'm detecting an artificial structure on the second planet. It's massive, and there's energy readings consistent with a spacefaring civilization. Any response to our presence? Chen asked. Communications specialist Okafor shook her head. Nothing on standard frequencies, but wait. She frowned, adjusting her console. I'm picking up what might be a communication signal, but it's not directed at us. It's ambient. Chen made her decision. Take us in closer, Rodriguez. Carefully. As they approached the planet, the structure resolved into what appeared to be a sprawling outpost built into the side of a crater wall. Vessels of various designs docked at protruding spires. It's some kind of trading post or way station, Paddle suggested, excitement overriding fear in his voice. A sudden transmission burst through their communication system, the language unfamiliar but somehow being processed by their computers into comprehensible English. Unidentified vessel. Your approach is noted. Your design is not registered. State your origin and purpose. Chen exchanged glances with her crew before responding. This is Commander Eliza Chen of the Earth vessel Pathfinder. We are in need of assistance and seek peaceful contact. A long pause followed before the response came. Earth vessel. Approach docking bay 7. Prepare for inspection. As they maneuvered toward the designated bay, Takahashi voiced what they were all thinking. They recognized Earth. They know about us. The docking procedure went smoothly despite their damaged systems. Chen selected a small team, herself, Patel, and Takahashi, to make first contact, leaving Rodriguez in command of the Pathfinder with strict orders to depart if anything went wrong. The airlock cycled open to reveal a tall, humanoid figure with metallic skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. 4 eyes, 2 large and 2 small, studied them with unmistakable surprise. Humans, the alien said in that same strangely translated voice. Here, impossible. The quarantine was reported complete. Chen tensed. You know about the quarantine. Who are you? I am Krill of the Vesh, the alien replied, its upper eyes blinking independently of the lower pair. And you are not the first humans I have encountered, though you are the first to arrive in your own vessel. Patel stepped forward. Not the first. There are other humans here. Krill gestured for them to follow. Come. Quickly. Your presence must not be reported to council observers. They followed the alien through winding corridors bustling with diverse life forms, none of whom gave the humans more than a passing glance. Eventually, they entered a secluded chamber where Krill secured the door. The others warned this might happen, Krill said, activating a holographic display showing Earth. When the council quarantines a world, they rarely account for outliers, explorers or colonies beyond the containment field. Keep your head down and let me do the talking, Krill instructed as they approached the massive space station orbiting Barnard Star. Commander Chen, her skin now tinted the metallic blue-green of the Vesh through a molecular disguise membrane, nodded imperceptibly. After 3 months of preparation at the Proxima trading post, the Pathfinder crew had learned enough about galactic politics to attempt their most dangerous mission yet. The shuttle docked with barely a tremor. Chen, Takahashi, and Okafor, all disguised as Vesh assistants, followed Krill through the arrival checkpoint. Their genetic signatures had been temporarily masked, but the disguises wouldn't fool a deep scan. Station identification, waypoint 17, announced an automated voice as they passed through a shimmering barrier. Welcome, Merchant Krill. Your assistants have been logged. The interior of the station opened into a breathtaking biodome, with impossible architecture. Structures that seemed to defy gravity, spiraling gardens that grew in multiple directions simultaneously, and beings of every conceivable form moving purposefully through it all. The Council maintains these neutral stations as meeting grounds for all recognized species, Krill explained quietly. What we seek is on the administrative level. They ascended via a gravity lift to an upper tier, where the foot traffic thinned considerably. Security drones, sleek, silver spheres, patrolled at regular intervals. The terminal we need is in the archives section, Krill said. I can get us in with my trading credentials, but we'll have exactly 7 minutes before the system flags an unauthorized access. The archive section was mercifully empty save for a solitary being with tentacle-like appendages sorting through holographic files. Krill approached a vacant terminal while Chen and the others kept watch. Remember, Chen whispered to Takahashi, we need the Council's communication protocols and security clearances. Anything on Earth's status would be valuable too. Takahashi nodded, his disguised features betraying none of the anxiety Chen knew he must be feeling. The engineer slipped behind the terminal as Krill distracted the archive attendant with questions about trade route regulations. His fingers moved swiftly over the alien interface, accessing directories through pathways Krill had taught him. Suddenly, he froze. What is it? Okafor asked, maintaining her casual posture while scanning for security. I found something, Takahashi whispered. The Council's central protocols. They're all automated. Every decision, every enforcement action, runs through predictive models. That's how they maintain control over thousands of star systems, Chen said. But how does that help us? Takahashi's eyes remained fixed on the screen as data streamed past. The 5 elder species, they haven't physically met in over 3,000 years. They govern entirely through AI proxies and predetermined responses. Are you saying the quarantine of Earth was an automated decision? Okafor asked, incredulous. Not just automated, Takahashi replied, downloading information to a crystal storage device. Predictable. The systems flagged Earth as passing certain technological thresholds that triggered standard containment protocols. A security drone drifted closer to their position. Chen tensed, ready to abandon their cover if necessary. Time's up, she murmured. Takahashi was about to disengage when a new file appeared on the screen, one labeled with Earth's stellar coordinates. Unable to resist, he tapped it open. Containment status. Anomalous resistance detected. He read aloud quietly. Recommendation. Elevated response pending elder review. They know something's happening on Earth, Chen realized. The containment isn't working as expected. The security drone suddenly altered course, heading directly toward them. At the same moment, the archive attendant turned, its sensory organs focusing on their terminal. We've been flagged, Okafor warned. We need to go. Now, 3 years had passed since the Pathfinder's narrow escape from the Barnard's star station. Commander Chen stood on the observation deck of what had once been a council outpost, her face now bearing a jagged scar from temple to jaw, a souvenir from a skirmish with council enforcement drones in the Ta City system. The outpost, captured during a daring raid 6 months earlier, orbited silently at the edge of the solar system, its existence hidden from council monitoring systems by advanced cloaking technology reverse-engineered from salvaged patrol vessels. Status report on the fleet, Chen ordered as Okafor entered the chamber. All 37 ships are in position, disguised as asteroid clusters, Okafor replied. The Vesh contingent reports ready, as do the Neural and Jixta vessels. Chen nodded, studying the tactical display showing their coalition forces strategically positioned throughout the Kuiper Belt. What had begun as a desperate mission with a single damaged ship had evolved into something the Council had never anticipated. An alliance of overlooked species united against their common oppressor. And Earth? Chen asked, her voice softening slightly. Okafor's expression remained carefully neutral, still under suppression, but our long-range scans show evidence of organized resistance. They're fighting back, Commander, even without advanced technology. A wry smile crossed Chen's scared face. Of course they are. We're stubborn that way. The door slid open as Dr. Patel and Chief Engineer Takahashi entered, accompanied by Krill. The Vesh trader had become one of their most valuable allies, using his extensive network to gather intelligence and recruit other species to their cause. The quantum transmitter is ready, Takahashi announced. We've synchronized it with Earth's lunar cycle. When the next eclipse creates a fluctuation in the suppression field, we'll have approximately 8 minutes of clear transmission. Patil gestured to the holographic display. More importantly, we've discovered something about this outpost. It wasn't just a monitoring station. It was an archive of quarantine data. With a wave of his hand, the scientist brought up hundreds of planetary profiles, each marked with the same containment classification that had been applied to Earth. We weren't the first, Chen murmured, scanning the endless list of worlds. Some quarantines dated back thousands of years. No, Krill confirmed, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of distress among the Vesh. The Council has been suppressing emerging civilizations for millennia. Any species that develops along unconventional lines or shows unpredictable advancement patterns is contained. Why? Chen demanded, though she already suspected the answer. Control, Takahashi said simply. The elder species evolved billions of years before others. They believe the galaxy's stability depends on controlled, predictable development. A alert chimed softly, drawing their attention to the main console. The eclipse begins in 20 minutes, Okafor reported. Communications window opens shortly after. Chen straightened her uniform, a hybrid design incorporating elements from Earth's military tradition and practical adaptations learned from their allies. Prepare the transmission package for Colonel Washington's resistance forces, she instructed. Include everything we've learned about the suppression technology, especially the vulnerability during astronomical alignments. Takahashi hesitated. Commander, this is the first contact we've attempted with Earth since the quarantine. If the Council detects the transmission, they'll know we exist, Chen finished for him. Good. It's time they realized their mistake. Her eyes hardened as she looked at the distant speck of blue that was Earth. They thought they were containing a primitive species. They're about to discover they've merely been incubating our rage. Contact in 30 seconds, the Neural Navigator announced, his crystalline voice resonating through the command deck of Chen's flagship, the Defiant, formerly the Pathfinder, now rebuilt with hybrid technology from 6 different species. The archives loomed ahead, a massive structure resembling an impossibly intricate snowflake suspended in space. Each delicate-looking arm housed data stretching back millions of years, the collective memory of the Council's rule. All ships, execute Broken Mirror, Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the hammering of her heart. Across the void, the Coalition fleet fragmented into seemingly chaotic patterns, each vessel following flight trajectories based on Earth's naval warfare tactics, unpredictable to the Council's defense algorithms, which expected symmetrical, logical attack formations. Commander, we have incoming. Takahashi shouted as previously concealed defense platforms emerged from hidden docks around the archives. They were waiting for us. Chen had anticipated resistance, but not an ambush. Something had compromised their intelligence. Maintain formation. Primary objective remains unchanged. The Defiant shuddered as enemy fire connected with their shields. A Vesh cruiser to their starboard exploded in a silent flash of light and debris. We've lost the horizon, Okafor reported grimly. Chen studied the tactical display, noting how the Council vessels moved in perfect, predictable patterns. Their ships are controlled by automated defense systems. They're following protocols. We're not. She made a split-second decision, one that would likely mean her own death. Alter course. Take us directly into their formation. The bridge crew exchanged alarmed glances, but executed the command without hesitation. The Defiant plunged toward the tightly grouped Council vessels, which momentarily scattered to avoid collision, exactly as Chen had predicted. All power to forward shields, she ordered as they barreled toward the Archive's central hub. Prepare for impact. The Defiant smashed through the Archive's environmental systems dome, its reinforced hull screaming in protest. Emergency bulkheads slammed down throughout the ship as atmosphere vented explosively into space. Chen unstrapped from her command chair, blood trickling from a gash on her forehead where she'd hit the console. Takahashi, Okafor, with me. Everyone else, return to the fleet once systems are stabilized. Commander, you need medical, Patel began, but Chen cut him off. No time. The transmission window with Earth opens in 15 minutes. We need to reach the central database before then. Armed with weapons salvaged from a dozen worlds, the three officers fought their way through the Archive's automated defenses, silver spheres that fired energy pulses and hovering security drones that attempted to trap them in containment fields. Meanwhile, on Earth, Colonel Diana Washington crouched in the subterranean command center beneath the ruins of old Chicago. Around her, resistance fighters monitored analog equipment cobbled together from pre-suppression technology and improvised components. Signal strength at 80%, reported Maya Ortiz, the 22-year-old engineering prodigy who had developed their electromagnetic pulse devices. Eclipse reaches totality in 4 minutes. The suppression field is already fluctuating. Washington nodded, her weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of vacuum tubes and modified cathode ray displays. Prepare the strike teams. The moment we confirm transmission from Chen, we hit all primary suppression nodes simultaneously. She studied the map showing resistance cells positioned near each of the alien devices they'd identified over the past 3 years. From the Arctic to the Sahara, from the Andes to the Himalayas, humanity had organized despite the technological darkness imposed upon them. They thought taking our technology would break us, Washington said, more to herself than to her officers. Instead, it forced us to remember what makes us human: our adaptability, our tenacity. The cell walls shimmered with an opalescent glow that made Commander Chen's eyes ache. 3 days had passed since her capture during the Archive's assault. 3 days of isolation aboard what she'd learned was the Dravi flagship, immutable order. Guards with faceless helmets brought food and water at irregular intervals, but never spoke, never acknowledged her questions. Chen ran her hand along the wall for the 100th time, seeking any weakness. Her fingers traced over a section where the shimmer seemed to intensify, revealing faint patterns beneath the surface. Symbols that reminded her of Dr. Patel's research into precursor civilizations. Interesting reaction. Came a voice from nowhere. Chen whirled to find a holographic projection had appeared in her cell, a towering figure with elongated limbs and skin like polished obsidian. 4 ridges ran across its skull where hair would be on a human. I am Observer Taxil of the Dravi Elder Council, the figure announced. You are the first human to directly attack a council facility. Unexpected. Chen straightened her posture, refusing to show fear. I'm Commander Eliza Chen of Earth, and you're holding my planet hostage. The observer tilted its head in what might have been curiosity. Hostage implies value. Your world was simply contained, as are all potentially disruptive species. You made a mistake, Chen replied, her voice level despite her anger. Humans don't respond well to captivity. So we are discovering, the observer conceded. Your resistance on Earth continues despite technological regression. Your vessel evaded containment. Your attack strategies defy prediction matrices. The elders are concerned. As the observer spoke, Chen noticed something extraordinary. The wall symbols pulsed in sync with her elevated heartbeat, responding to her proximity in ways that seemed to go unnoticed by her captor. The Council has existed for 50,000 years, Taxil continued. We maintain galactic stability through control of developmental pathways. Species that develop along unexpected lines threaten this balance. Chen stepped closer to the observer, deliberately moving away from the responsive wall section. And who decided the Council should determine which species deserve freedom? The precursors, Taxil answered simply. The first intelligent species in this galaxy. They ascended beyond physical form eons ago, leaving technologies to guide those who followed. We Dravi were the first to inherit their wisdom. Chen recalled Patel's theory about human neural structures bearing unusual similarities to ancient precursor patterns, a theory dismissed as speculative until now. "These walls," she said carefully, "they're precursor technology, aren't they?" The observer's posture shifted subtly. All Council core systems are derived from precursor artifacts. They respond only to elder species. Chen turned back toward the wall, placing her palm flat against it. The symbols beneath the surface flared brightly, and the entire cell hummed with sudden energy. Taxel's projection flickered, alarm evident in its posture. "Impossible. You cannot. You quarantined the wrong species," Chen said as the wall became transparent beneath her touch, revealing ship systems beyond. "Maybe we're more connected to your precursors than you realized." Meanwhile, on Earth, Colonel Washington received Chen's final transmission containing Council security protocols. The message had come through during the eclipse window, compressed into a burst transmission that their jury-rigged systems had barely managed to capture. "Can you make sense of this?" Washington asked, handing the data crystal to Maya Ortiz. The young engineer studied the alien code, her eyes widening. It's their entire command structure. Their ships, their suppression field generators, everything." She looked up, excitement breaking through her usual reserve. "Their systems are rigid, predictable. They never expected to be challenged, so they never evolved their security." Alarms blared throughout the Dravi flagship as Commander Chen moved through corridors that seemed to anticipate her presence, doors sliding open before she reached them. The genetic resonance Patel had theorized about was real. Her DNA contained markers that echoed precursor patterns, allowing her partial control over their ancient systems. "Security breach in Section 8, announced an automated voice in the strange, musical language of the Dravi that Chen somehow understood perfectly. "Unknown energy signature detected." Chen ducked into an alcove as a squad of silver-armored guards rushed past. Her makeshift weapon, a power coupling repurposed into a crude energy disruptor, felt reassuringly solid in her hand. She had disabled the surveillance systems in her path, but knew her advantage was temporary. The elders would eventually override her access. She needed to reach the command deck. Meanwhile, the Council Armada approached Earth with overwhelming force. 500 vessels arranged in perfect geometric formations, their weapons capable of reducing the planet's surface to molten slag if ordered. At their center, the elder vessels maintained constant communication, directing the fleet through automated systems. What they failed to notice were the dormant satellites in Earth's orbit, communication relics from before the quarantine, now repurposed by Washington's resistance. Inside each satellite, Maya Ortiz's virus waited silently, its code an impossible hybrid of analog programming and alien protocols. "Detection systems report no resistance capability," reported the LORM sub-commander to the Elder Council's iProxy. "Planet remains under effective suppression. Atmospheric entry in 30 units." The LORM, one of the 5 elder species, had advocated for a moderate approach to Earth's containment. That position had been overruled by the Dravi Elder, who now demanded sterilization rather than risk further contamination of Council systems. Below on Earth's surface, Colonel Washington stood in the abandoned missile silo that served as the Resistance's primary base. Hundreds of modified EMP devices had been distributed globally, each small enough to be carried by a single person, yet powerful enough to temporarily disable the alien suppression nodes. "Satellite network reports Council fleet entering lunar orbit," reported her communications officer, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Washington nodded. "Activate Ortiz protocol." Across the planet, resistance cells moved into position around the buried alien devices. In the Siberian tundra, the Amazon rainforest, beneath the waters of the Mediterranean. Everywhere, the suppression nodes had been identified. Humans waited with their improvised weapons. In orbit, the reprogrammed satellites silently oriented toward the approaching Council fleet. Aboard the immutable order, Chen reached the auxiliary command center, a spherical chamber lined with crystalline interfaces. At the center floated a being far more ancient than any she had encountered before, the Dravi Elder itself, its body preserved by technologies beyond human comprehension. "You should not be here," it stated simply, its voice resonating directly in Chen's mind. "Your presence defies all predictive models." "That's what makes us human," Chen replied, approaching the control nexus. "We defy expectations." The Elder's ancient eyes studied her with unsettling intensity. "The genetic markers, impossible. Your kind was deemed non-threatening." "Predictable." Chen placed her palm against the central crystal, feeling the ship's systems respond to her touch. "That was your first mistake." "What are you doing?" demanded the Elder as ship-wide communications activated. "Showing you what happens when you cage humans," Chen replied, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Forward to Earth. Show them what happens when you cage humans." In that moment, the satellites around Earth activated, transmitting Ortiz's virus directly into the Council Armada's navigation and weapons systems. Ship by ship, their perfect formation disintegrated into confusion as control interfaces went dark or displayed contradictory commands. The lunar surface gleamed beneath Earth's reflected light as representatives from 27 worlds gathered inside the transparent dome of the new Galactic Assembly. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Sol, as it was now called throughout known space, the unprecedented defeat of the Council Armada by a quarantined world and its unlikely allies. Commander Chen stood at the viewport, her dress uniform bearing both Earth's insignia and symbols of the coalition forces she had led. Beside her, Colonel Washington remained stoic, though her eyes betrayed wonder at the gathering of species who had arrived to witness this historic moment. "Hard to believe we're here," Washington said quietly. "When you first contacted us during the eclipse, I thought we'd be fighting forever." Chen nodded. "We nearly did. If Maya's virus hadn't disabled their navigation systems at the exact moment we broadcast the Council's suppression program to the galaxy. Earth would be a cinder," Washington finished. "The girl's a genius. When the suppression field collapsed, she had our satellite network operational within hours. Half our current defenses are her design." A soft chime announced the imminent start of the proceedings. Delegates moved toward the central chamber, a perfect circle with 28 seats arranged as equals. The symbolic significance wasn't lost on anyone present. For 50,000 years, the Council had maintained hierarchical arrangements with the elder species elevated above all others. Chen and Washington took their positions as Earth's representatives. Around them sat the Vesh, the Neral, the Jixta, and many others who had joined their cause, species previously marginalized or quarantined by Council decree. At the appointed hour, the 5 remaining Council elders entered. The Lorm and Teveran representatives walked with heads high, having broken with tradition to oppose Earth's sterilization. The Mrath and Solvis delegates followed, their postures revealing their discomfort at this new arrangement. Last came the Dravi speaker, the oldest living being in known space, moving without the customary hover platform that had symbolized elder status for millennia. Silence fell as the ancient creature approached the center of the chamber. Its physical frailty contrasted sharply with the power it had wielded for thousands of years. When it spoke, its translated voice carried to all present. In 50,000 years of guiding civilization, it began, the translator conveying genuine awe. "We never encountered a species that transformed a quarantine into an opportunity." The Dravi's eyes fixed on Chen and Washington. "You revealed flaws in systems we believed flawless. You adapted when we expected surrender. You united when we anticipated division." The ancient being gestured to the document projected in the center of the chamber, the new compact that would replace the Council's unilateral rule. "The quarantine program is hereby dissolved," the Dravi continued. "All suppressed worlds will be restored to their technological paths. The autonomy of all sentient species is recognized as inviolable." A murmur of approval rippled through the delegates. The provisions they had negotiated over 6 tense months would fundamentally restructure galactic society. No longer would the elders dictate developmental pathways for emerging civilizations. No longer would unpredictability be deemed a threat requiring containment. As the formal signing began, Washington noticed the Dravi lingering by Earth's viewport. She approached the ancient being, curiosity overcoming protocol. "You could have continued fighting," she said quietly. "Your civilization spans thousands of worlds. Why accept such radical change?"